So let's get started. Our first album for the month of September, we have Grandson with his third album, Inertia.
I'm off that console, check out, I get mad whenever I see the face on the side of the Las Vegas sphere. I'm always smiling cause he knows that the end is near.
10 tracks. This is the first album of his produced with entirely live recorded music. Nothing, no electronic drums from whatever sample packer computer. Everything was recorded live on this for the first time ever. And I think you can hear it in most of the songs on here, that it sounds built for the live environment. It feels raw, it feels energetic, it feels chaotic in a sense. I think this is a return to a very politically charged message that he kind of grew his brand on back in like 2018, 2019. But with that being said, comes kind of my biggest gripe with this album, in that it's just not fun to listen to all the time with how like real some of the lyrics are. I enjoy this album a lot, but it's not as replayable across the board as I Love You, I'm Trying was. And to be fair, like, this is a very different album than that last album. They're both trying to do very different things. But there's a couple songs on here that I have not really been able to resonate with a ton. I think kind of the funniest way I can put it is, I don't know if there has ever been a track list that has been ordered 1 to 10 so closely to how I would rank my favorite to least favorite songs on an album.
That's crazy.
Because my top 4 songs are Bury You, Autonomous Delivery Robot, Brain Rot, and Self-Immolation, which are the first 4 songs on this album. And then really the only change that happens is that Who's the Enemy featuring Bob Vylan is probably my 5th favorite song on here. And then from there, like, the order is a little bit interchangeable between like You Made Me This Way and Little White Lies. And then Pull the Trigger, I think, is okay as a closer. Bells of War is also kind of just okay. I was really hoping Bells of War would be like a proper metalcore Grandson song. I saw that 2-minute runtime and I'm like, I know you have some harsher vocals in you. I want you to lay it out. And it's an angry song, but it's not what I wanted it to be. And I don't feel like what I got is something that I really resonate with. I don't know.
On the other hand, I feel like Autonomous Delivery Robot, Brain Rot, and You Made Me This Way largely envelop my feelings about the world as a whole right now, and I found this album really relatable. This is my favorite Grandson album, which I had no expectations.
So my prediction on You Might Like Some of this album turned out to be pretty true.
Yeah, I would say so. I will say I agree with your comment about it being front half heavy. I think that when you get to particularly God is an Animal and Bells of War is where the album loses me a little bit.
So God is an Animal, not to distract you.
No, go.
God is an Animal. Grandson said that song was written in 2019 and it shows.
Yeah.
You can tell it is the first Grandson song in years that sounds like his Modern Tragedy EP era songs. Like, it really sounds like a song from that era, and it does, to an extent, feel out of place on this album.
Yeah, I think it's
lyrically the message makes sense, but sonically it feels out of place.
Yeah. It's very like, how do I put this? What I heard, and especially on Bury You, is that I can tell the Grandson likes Tyler, the Creator. And there are so many, like, the delivery on certain lines on this album, particularly in Bury You, where he said, power didn't change you, it made you more of what you are. Power reveals you. Yeah, the real you when you take it too far. Like, that's so, not lyrically, but the delivery is so Tyler, the Creator. It's insane. And it's this, like, half sarcastic delivery where you can tell that he both cares a lot and is jaded and fed up. Which feels like a very common theme throughout the album, but I feel like Bells of War in particular is the one song where, even if it fits thematically, the delivery and songwriting is like way different. Like it lacks that sarcasm almost that is so prevalent throughout most of the rest of the album. Like you were talking about, it picks back up with Who's the Enemy, and I thought Pull the Trigger was a great closer in terms of a double meaning with, hey, we're going to wrap this up with a classic Grandson commentary on gun violence, but also on like kind of feeling suicidal because the world is shit right now and it's a lot to put up with. I mean, you can tell it was written recently. You got self-immolation with relation to, I believe it's a reference to Aaron Bushnell, who self-immolated on the U.S. embassy to Israel in mid 2024, I want to say. But there's commentary on just the technological advancements in society and their prevalence and AI and the autonomous delivery robots and the airport retinal scans and all this consumerism bullshit that we're subjected to on a daily basis, and same sort of thing in Brain Rot. And I really enjoyed Who's the Enemy as like a social commentary on systemic issues, particularly in the US, like blaming criminals without tackling the root issues that drive people to criminal behavior. I mean, Grandson's never been a stranger to political statements or anything like that. In fact, he's probably in this aspect of the scene been doing it for
the longest.
Well, the longest, yeah, or one of the longest.
Like, it's not like a new thing that he's doing just because it's trendy.
Right.
This is like stuff that he genuinely believes in.
Absolutely. And I feel like this album in particular, and maybe it's just because the things that he's talking about aren't just like, again, with self-immolation, it's a recent event. You know, that it's not like we're not talking at large about, it's not all about, well, we've got gun violence and racism and things like that. It's, no, like these are real things. And here's an example of like 5 things that happened yesterday that are problematic and will be continuing to happen tomorrow. And I think that that's also why God is an Animal really kind of, I don't want to say ruins, but really impacts the album listening experience because it feels so jarring compared to the rest of the album. I think if you take that out and make it a 9-track album a la Bill Murray type of deal, this is like, I'd throw this in my top 10 easily. Because I think that the way that Grandson writes about current events and systemic issues and things like that, it's very clever. It's on the nose, but in a way that makes it enjoyable to listen to. Like you can hear that kind of, I don't want to say like Joker-esque delivery, but he's like, it's very like a society type of deal. Yeah, but like he does such a great job of delivering it on the hip hop aspects. I think he really leaned into it in this in a way that I feel like more so than I remember on his previous album.
I Love You, I'm Trying had a lot of influence from that.
I don't think
especially on a song like Eulogy.
Yes, that one I do remember. But yeah, I don't know. This album, it speaks to me because of the way that he writes about current events. I think it is just that one track in God is an Animal that really throws me off. I didn't realize it was written in 2019, but now that you've said that, it makes perfect sense. I mean, it is very much like I would expect this to become before or after a what is that song? Identity. Like that kind of pacing and songwriting, I would expect it to be around there. So it's unfortunate, honestly. I mean, I don't mean to say that it's necessarily a bad song, but in the context of the album, I think it kills a lot of the flow and momentum that the album did a really good job of establishing up to that point. But ultimately, it was still a really good album. Really fun listen. Reminded me a little bit of the Bad Flower album.
This is ultimately, yes, Bad Flower.
Okay.
Yeah, that was only a few months ago.
Oh, jeez, dude.
That was June, I think.
June? Oh, hell no, bro.
Because I was listening to that in Cape Cod. So yeah, that was definitely June.
Okay, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo what you said. Like, God is an Animal is like, I don't know if it's definitively my least favorite, but it's down there. I'd also group in the trio of Little White Lies and Bells of War. Just that entire stretch of 3 songs doesn't really do much for me, and then it picks up with Who's the Enemy. And I think Pull the Trigger is a fine closer. It's not like I said that there's like parts of this album that are like kind of uncomfortable to listen to, and like I struggle to enjoy it in a sense, and I'd say a lot of that comes from that stretch of Little White Lies, God is an Animal, Bells of War. Pull the Trigger, he has very direct social commentary on like gun violence in America right now, and it's not something that Granson's been afraid to talk about before. Like how Darkside, in a very similar way from his 2019 EP, talks about gun violence and school shootings, and that's one of my favorite Grandson songs, and I think that song is amazing. But Pull the Trigger just does not have, it's lacking something for me, which really sucks in an album closer, because I really want it to leave like a poignant mark on one of my favorite musicians of all time, and it just kind of missed the mark. For the most part, like this album to me, when I added all the songs into my playlist, it was basically the I'm Leaving, Bury You, and Autonomous Delivery Robot on repeat. And I think I've like eclipsed like 30-40 listens on both of those, and the other songs I'm at like maybe 10 listens on any of them at this point over the course of the month. Like it's a significant gap between how front heavy this album is and how not necessarily apathetic I am towards the back half, but it doesn't leave nearly as much of a mark. It's a very inconsistent album in my opinion, and I think that hurts its overall chances in my top 10 albums of the year. But with that being said, Grandson is still one of my favorite artists of all time. And Bury You is my most played song of the month. One of my favorite songs of the month. I fucking love Autonomous Delivery Robot. Brain Rot and Self-Immolation were some of my most played songs of the month when both of those came out a few months ago. So like, I still have a lot that I really enjoy about this album. It is not the definitive album of the year that I was hoping Grandson would release in 2025. For being one of my favorite artists ever, it's not going to be album number 3 that gives Grandson an album of the year, unfortunately.
I do want to cap it off with some lyrics from Autonomous Delivery Robot. That is just, it's so good. I get fucking mad whenever I see the face on the side of the Las Vegas Sphere, always smiling because he knows the end is near. Tell Boston Dynamics that I can't stand it. The delivery on Tell Boston Dynamics that I can't stand it is so good. And then just the algorithm, the militarized technology, the inescapable assaulting of my privacy, the algorithm always showing what I want to see, so I can never outrun. All new, solar-powered, lightweight, customized, pink-washed, green-washed, screen-washed, digitized, AI-powered GPT sport mode, night vision, upgraded, downsized, mega Mother's Day edition, premium and optimized, equipped with facial recognition. Right? It's just
Autonomous Delivery Robot.
Yup. It's like, you know what? Me too, grandson. I got some fucking robot bringing me my food at a restaurant. Hell no. Get this shit out of here. I'm
that
gonna
in
kick
Korea
that damn
is so freaky.
Right? Like, get me personal interaction. I don't want to see some robot bring my shit to the table. Like, I don't care. Like,
I actually had it. I had that part written down. The fully loaded automatic authorized. What that verse before the final autonomous delivery robot. It reminded me of crazy callback here. 5-Finger Death Punch, The Pride, which back when I was in my 5-Finger Death Punch era. That was like one of my favorite 5-Finger Death Punch songs, and like that verse where it's like Facebook, MySpace, iPod, Bill Gates, and it just keeps listing off random things. And that's how I felt listening to Autonomous Delivery Robot.